about to happen. It's about to happen. We're about to get it on. Again, welcome to Lenora Bowl and Entertainment Center. We appreciate everyone that's here. Tonight, I think we have, in my opinion, like a star in the making. I'll tell you this and I'll bring Cory up and get out of the way. I told a few people how this happened. We were closing out a show, and these four wonderful people walked up, and this gentleman said, you know, my wife is funny. But you know, you hear that, right? Remember? He said, my wife is funny. I said, really? He said, yes, she's funny. So I turned to her, I said, oh, so you're funny? She said, yes, I've been writing jokes for 3 or 4 years. So I said, okay, well, let's give it a shot. She said, when? I said, right now, you need 2 minutes. She walked over here and said she was nervous, and ladies and gentlemen, when she sat down, my jaw dropped. And so not only is she here tonight, we already got her ready for next month, 23rd. I'm going to bring up Cory McCloskey, our MC for tonight. Let's get the show on the road.
Thanks, man. Yeah. Just like when I come home at night, same reaction. Well, for all of you who are 25 years old or younger, my pronouns are sir, yes sir, and no sir. Thank you. Welcome to Sunny Slope. Yeah. You've probably seen the new water tower. Sunny Slope. Small city charm, big city crime. It's going to get rougher than that. Some Sunny Slope residents here. Well, I'm actually kind of a small towner myself. Any small town folks here? Grew up in some little burg somewhere? There you go. Now my town was a kind of small town. You could simultaneously be the mayor and be selling cantaloupes off of a card table, you know, at the edge of town. But we had about, I can remember the sign. It's a cast iron sign back in Pennsylvania. That's the way they do it. Millersburg, Pennsylvania, population 2,344. And they're pretty strict about that. I mean, you should have seen the commotion down at the nursing home when my aunt had twins. Yeah. Somebody had to go. But my town, there's not a lot going on. There were 2 things to do. Both of them were just smoking. Everybody smokes. My dad, my mom, I think our cat smoked. But we also, the other thing to do was bowling. And here we are tonight at the lanes. Now, my bowling alley, not as luxurious as what you're seeing here. We had 6 lanes, and you could not see the pins from the smoke. I mean, you would bowl, and you just walk away. You kind of bowled by sound. Like, hey, Stu, that sounds like a 7-10 split. Sorry. And the ball returned like above ground. It wasn't fancy underground, just like on a rail. It would just sort of appear out of the mist, like those ball players at Field of Dreams, you know. Like, oh, there's my ball. Pinball was the big thing too. Now, it wasn't fancy pinball with all the lights and the sounds and the music. It was like, on the machine, it was like a gambler with 4 aces, you know. He's like looking at a showgirl's calf. That was about as exciting as things got for us there. But now, as far as the smoking goes, I never took up the trade, but I always respected the good smokers, like my Aunt Betty. This is her move, but she liked to get it down deep, you know, where it could do her some good. Because she's smoking Chesterfields, the healthful smoke. But my dad, when I was young, he was a smoker. And he would, you know, the first thing would happen in the morning, well, he's going to be in the bathroom. We're all waiting for Dad to get going. And he'd have that first cigarette. This is the best part of my day. Because you know where he's going to flick that cigarette right into the bowl. Well, here I come. I'm an 8-year-old boy. I'm ready. I mean, I can pressure wash a shrimp boat. If you've ever been an 8-year-old boy. And I take off on that cigarette button, and it's like the Battle of Midway, you know. Eventually, it would break up. All the little tobacco sailors would start swimming off to the edge. Hey, speaking of that, toilets, and where we just recently moved into a new house, and I got to change the toilets. I don't know who built the house, like Lou Alcindor. I mean, it was that long ago when he was still called Lou Alcindor, but it's so tall. This is me sitting down. There we go. And there's a towel bar there, and I feel like I'm riding a chopper. So I'm in Home Depot, and it is glorious. If you've never been to the toilet row, the toilet aisle at Home Depot, they have names. It's like, here's the American Standard Cadet. And the thing about the Cadet, this is how they market it. It can flush a large bucket of golf balls. Now, I thought that was impressive, but next door is the Commander. This can swallow an entire table of pool balls, billiard balls, all 16. It says we go down there. Couple things. First of all, what are you eating that requires this kind of suction? It's like unshelled clams, baby armadillos. I don't know what you're into, but anyway, I went with the Commander just to be safe. By the way, I'm glad to see so many of Jennifer's friends out here. I see her pole dancing glasses over here. Thanks for coming, ladies. Now come right on down. This is Jennifer's husband. He's got his summer haircut going there. Looks good. Mom trimmed you up just before school. Yeah, that's nice. Well, speaking of the real estate, I don't know if anyone here is in the market for a house, but nobody cares anymore. They used to try to get you to buy the house, because that's how real estate would work. Oh no. In the last several months, it's cooling a little bit, but they just like, if you don't want it, fine, by them. Now, remember they used to have those little hang tags on the bottom of the sign, and would say like, I'm gorgeous inside, or sparkling pool. Now, it's go time. It just says, like, we have cats. Weird neighbors. I saw one last night. It just said haunted. They don't care. Now, when we moved out here, we decided to build a house, which we had never done. But when I realized that in Surprise, Arizona, you could build a 7-bedroom house for about the price of a loaded Camry. But yeah, let's do that. So, I don't know if you've ever seen a house in Arizona being built. First of all, when you meet with a builder, what you say, because you came from a normal state that is not here, you say, well, now will the basement be under the whole house? And will you finish it, or should I finish it? The basement? We don't build basements. I said, well, why? He said, ground's too hard. It's got caliche. I don't know what that magical substance is, but that's what they tell you. I said, really? And I said, okay. I said, well, you're the boss. About 10 minutes later in the conversation, I said, so, can you build our pool? I said, oh yeah, we can build your pool. And I said, okay, I'll have 2 pools. So what are you going to do with 2 pools? I said, well, one I'm going to swim in. And then the other one I'm going to have you build a house on top of it. And throw down some stairs, and we're just going to call it a basement. That's all right with you. Now the good news is, once your house is built, once all the chicken wire and styrofoam is up, then you get to choose your color, and it's so exciting. You ever been in that design center where all the vast array of color choices are available to you? And the nice lady says, well, we've got fawn and dusty road, beige, dark beige, doe skin, dirt road. So I'll just take the dusty beige, like everybody else in town. Now, I don't know if you've ever been to Surprise. It's have you? Yeah. Like, if you look to the horizon and right where the earth starts to curve, that's where Surprise is. It's like the Queen Creek of the Northwest Valley. I've never been out there. Now, some of you may know what I do for a living. Not very much. Being a weatherman in Arizona, it's not what we call a calorie burner. I don't sweat very often, but for 20 years I did the morning show. So my alarm would go off at 2:50. Yeah, that's the approved reaction. It's awful. It's an insult every day. But the commute is fantastic. It's like me and a bread truck, a couple of home invaders, and they're carpooling together. But anyway, now I do the nighttime shows, and I'm getting 3 hours more sleep every day. Do you want to wrestle me? Okay, because that's how energized I am. I feel like I could wrestle anyone right now. Now, my wife and I, where are all the married people, by the way? Every comic has to ask that. Well, we got 1, 2, 4 people here are married. It's going to be a good night. I knew it was league night. I didn't know it was singles night. So you've all got a shot at it. That's fantastic. Well, we've been married for 37 years, and we're counting on about 37 more. Now, what I've learned over all of these 37 years is that, well, in addition to having no place to store our junk because we don't have a basement, my wife, have you ever seen that show Hoarders? These sad people with the canyons full of junk. We should do a show about my wife, except it would be called Discarders. Because she doesn't let anything lie around. Nothing. It doesn't matter what it is. The dogs, they don't even like to sit still. They're like, hey, I'm just resting, She throws away the stuff that she knows I don't want. My Letterman jacket, my mom's ashes, that kind of thing. But the other thing about my wife is that she's also in the theater business. She's a director. So the reason we don't have any junk of our own is because everyone else's junk is at our house. So if you know theater directors, they borrow stuff from each other. Hey, oh, you're doing My Bye Birdie? You got poodle skirts? We could use them. So, not long ago, my wife she directed a production of The Sound of Music. I'm sure you're all familiar with it. Anyone here who's never seen The Sound of Music, the TV show, or you? All right. Well, let me just synopsize it for you. The Sound of Music is about a bunch of English children who live in Austria. We don't know why, but they have English accents. They have a horrible dad who is indifferent to them. So he hires a defective nun to watch over them. She teaches them how to sing, and then they outwit the Nazis and hike to Switzerland. And that's the whole show. Now, at one point in the show, however, there's a scene where the dad he's at home at a party, but the Nazis have put up a big banner in his foyer. He just tears it down with a big dramatic flourish. Well, you might expect that it's quite a striking symbol to see this big Nazi flag. Now, as a sidebar, the other thing about my wife is she loves Goodwill. For her birthday, I just got her a $100 Goodwill gift card. Every year I get her the same thing. Easy. So she's there so often, she knows all the guys. There's Luis and Randy. They take the stuff out of your car, you know. So, unfortunately, my wife's theater world and her Goodwill world are about to collide in a horrible way. Because we're going to Goodwill with all of the junk that, you know, I don't need anymore, apparently. And in the back of the truck is all the stuff, or the SUV. So we're there, and I'm helping Randy get all the stuff out. And Mary Jane, my wife, has her earbuds in. And she says, she's not saying anything, she's just listening. And we're almost done. And I yell up to her, hey honey, does everything go? She's not hearing me. And almost all of it is gone. Luis and Randy, they're filling up the big tub. I said, does everything go? Nothing. Finally, I get her attention. You know how it is when you have your earbuds in and you think everyone else is not speaking loudly, but you are now. I said, does everything go? And she just says, well, yes, everything except the Nazi flag. And just as she says it, Randy is opening up this box. And there it is, an enormous swastika. And I looked at him, and he looked at me, and he kept looking at me, and then he just shut the box, and just handed it back to me, and he starts pushing the cart. And I'm like, wait, it's not ours! We just borrowed it! It belongs to a friend! We're the Facebook group together. It doesn't really work. It's hard to recover from one of those. But I'll wrap this up with one story. Now, my wife of 37 years, we also have 3 daughters. So I am adrift on an estrogen sea. No land in sight. But one thing I've learned over 37 years and a beautiful wife and all of these daughters, it's imbued me with a certain, like a superpower. I can bring anything up to the checkout stand. Nothing bothers me. My ego flew years ago. So that's why I can help out you, newlywed, boyfriend, because nothing phases you. And you've seen these guys, right? They're down there at about aisle 23, you know, between the trash bags and the dog jerky. They've kind of got a hunted look on their faces, you know. They're supposed to get something, but they can't remember what the heck it was. That's where I come in. I'm just hanging around there on a Sunday, because I'm not watching football. Because I haven't seen a whole football game since the Clinton administration, probably. And I said, hey, Justin or Rusty, whatever they're naming them these days, come here. And he comes over and I said, look, calm down. You know why you're here, right? He says, yeah. I said, look, We're going to get through this together. And hey, look up, no crying. You see, I'm sort of like a period pal. Like a menstrual mentor for these kids. Because they don't know what's going on, but I've been through the mill. Say, look, it's going to be fine. Now, first off, we're going to ask you 3 questions, and you're going to get on your way. So, what color is the box? Don't tell me you don't know. You push it aside 100 times, getting your hazels. Now, what color is the box? Black? Good. Black is Kotex. Am I right? Yeah. So, okay, you're good. Now, oh, you've seen the inside of the box? Okay. What's it look like? Does it look more like does it more look like a bunch of fancy gift wrap chapsticks? Or is it like a filing cabinet for a Barbie doll? Okay, or the filing cabinet. Okay, good. Oh, you've seen one opened up? Oh, that's good. What's that look like? Okay. Surfboard, yeah. Oh, with the things on bumps on the side? Woo! That's $1 million catch, friend. Those are wings. You just saved yourself a trip back down. Okay, now, which of these words sounds more familiar to you? Light, regular, or super? Oh, super? Well, now don't just say that. It's not necessarily a compliment. It's not a contest. It's, okay, whatever you say. Let's get you, tell you what, we'll get you a box of super and then a box of regular, and then you can bring one of them back, just to be safe. Now, are you ready to go? Okay, now remember, it's in this aisle. It's just past the OD, but just before the stay free, okay? Now look, if you see the word poise, then you've gone too far. Okay? You ready? Now go! And off he runs. And he's hustling. And he's back in a flash. And he's got just what he needs. And I'm so proud of him. And he's proud because he's done a big thing. I say, buddy, that's good. But now we're going to work up some mental calluses. Because we're going to need them. Now next week, I want you to bring that box of supers back without a receipt. And I want you to have Kathy over here put it back on your debit card, all right? Good. Now look, you get on home. A couple of years, she's going to have that baby. You're going to be back here for those nursing pads. And I'm going to be right here. And those are my jokes, everybody.